And we're live. Very exciting. If you are watching the recording, and why wouldn't you? It's going to be great. Um, it is 6:58. So that means for the next 2 minutes I stall while people are maybe logging in or maybe not. I don't know. I just wait until exactly 7 to get started. So you can definitely fast forward for 2 minutes on your timeline. In the meantime, if you don't do that, in the meantime, let's talk about Jolly Roger Ukulele. This website I built in a big hurry during the pandemic, and it's a disaster on some level, and it's just miraculous on other levels. But one thing that's really, really, really fine about it is that if you're a Jolly Roger Ukulele member, you get, and Wednesday nights, we sit down and we play some of the members only songs. So these are songs that are behind the paywall, and I would love to have you come join us. It's $25 a quarter. It has nothing to do with the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra anymore, and so we don't have to talk orchestra stuff at all, except to remind people that are in the orchestra who still can't quite figure it out that they don't have to pay for this unless they want to. The nice thing about the website is you can learn to play for free. There's over 100 songs just laying out in the open for people who want to get good at playing ukulele as an instrument and not so much as an accompaniment to your singing. That, of course, we cover that stuff in book one as well, but it's really designed for instrumental play and for making you a soloist with just you and your instrument, and maybe you sing, maybe you don't. And so hopefully you'll just wander over and check it out. It's a good website, and it is a mess all of the time because I edit and post and all of that stuff, and I want you to know that I know it's a lot when you get there. I am working on it basically every day. I do something on it to make it better, and so please give that some thought. It's $25 a quarter. Come on, you guys, cheap. Rita is here. Hey, Rita, good to see you. Jennifer is here. She goes by Jenny, but I've never called her. I never felt comfortable with that. She seemed like a Jennifer to me, and so she's here. Good to see you both. And Jennifer, I will be getting out the schedule of who's going to be in Denver, who's going to come over on Saturday to see me in Denver, and hopefully everybody will line up. And then if the time slots don't work for you, we'll jockey you around and move you. Robin is here. Very exciting to see you, Robin. Good to see you. Now, back in the old days when you guys logged in, I says, all right, tell me where you're from and what the weather is like tonight. And so feel free when you come in and do that to let me know. Also, you don't have to use the chat bar at all. You don't even have to be logged in to watch these videos. But if you are logged in using your Gmail address which is the same as your YouTube's login, then you can use the chat bar. Okay, and Alexis is here. Good to see you. Robin has snow. It was 70 degrees here today. There's something the news here is like we're having record-setting temperatures, and then I see the national news, and it's like it's freezing everywhere. So yeah, so crazy, right? What was I talking about that was way more interesting? Not who knows. All right, let's get going on this. So tonight, I took Blackbird off the list because we played that 3 weeks. This will be the third week of Eleanor Rigby. That's enough for any song, unless you're making it part of your repertoire, in which case means that you play it every day for 1 year. That's what I tell everybody who wants to. People say, I can't memorize anything. Yes, you can. You play it every single day for 1 year, and I promise you will have it memorized. And you're going to pick whatever songs you want for your repertoire. And I keep them in a folder here in the iPad. Here are my 20 songs, right? And I play them every day, and I'm pretty good at them, right? Because I'm basically they're all memorized, right? And I can just play them. I always I keep the score in front of me because I never know what's going to happen with this brain of mine. But after a year, you pretty much have a song memorized. So that's how you build a repertoire. That's it. That's the whole discussion. So we're on Eleanor Rigby. I have a ukulele strapped around my body. So let's start with the Eleanor Rigby on ukulele. If you have a baritone in your lap, you have to play your shapes for these chords, and then you're backing us up and making us sound nice. This song is pretty hard. This is the hardest song we'll do tonight, and so give us some flexibility. Do something kind of simple in the background to give the rest of us the flexibility to mess up and take a little longer to get chords on and stuff. Okay, so I'm not going to go fast, but I'm going to try to keep the pace as steady as possible. Okay, so remember you're starting in the high B flat position. Okay, here we go. Not fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5. Okay, that's the ukulele version. Okay, now I always switch, not always, lots of times, most of the time, I want to switch and play the same thing on baritone. Because one, that baritone players always feel like they get left out in all of the ukulele world, and they should not. This is a great instrument. Okay, yeah, and it's exactly the same as the arrangement is exactly the same on this instrument as it is on ukulele. A little easier to play on a baritone, not much, but a little. And that means you as ukulele players, if you don't have a baritone, you switch to chords. Okay, and it's a good practice. We talk about this all the time. It's very good practice because you have to play with me. I'm the lead, and you are the accompaniment. Now, in a real band, we'd have a drummer, and he'd be setting the pace, and I'd have to keep up with them, right? But when there's just the two of us, you're the accompaniment, and you have to keep up with me. So if I'm running late or coming in early or whatever, you have to be listening and ready for that. You're hitting F chords and A minor chords, and that's it, right? On ukulele, boom, 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 and you're like, wait, they made a gajillion dollars off of this song, and I'm just moving one finger, right? What in the heck is going on? Hey, Kat, welcome in. So good to see you. By the way, Kat's not having snow where she is. They had that a couple weeks back. I think it's the 80 degrees down there already or something. All right, so Eleanor Rigby on baritone. If you're playing a ukulele, you're on chords. Okay, and this instrument. All right. By the way, you can tell both of my instruments need string changes real bad. Wish I knew somebody who did that. All right, from the top, not fast. Okay. Oh, hey, Connor, how are you? Christy O is here. All right. It always says Critty 42. It should say Critter. I used to call her Critter, I think. Christy O sounds more like a rock star, huh? All right. From the top, Eleanor Rigby. I'm on baritone. You're on chords if you have a ukulele in your lap. Not fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go. Number 5. Oops, sorry, hit the wrong button. I got it. Okay, from 12, go. Remember, most songs we slow down toward the end, right? Especially a song like that that's a little on the sad side. You're going to slow down. This one slows down. I slowed down a whole bunch at the end. But that gives you a general sense, like, I guess it creates a little bit of showbiz and a little bit of drama. And at you guys' level, when you get to this level of playing, you start thinking about what does my audience expect from me, and how do I want to play this and present it in a nice way? How do I help tell the story? And so those are all higher level things you're thinking about, more than just getting the notes out, because that's hard enough, right? But to get the notes out well and in a meaningful way, that's sort of next level stuff. All right. Eleanor Rigby, we're done with for a while. Okay, I like the way the sheet music is laid out. I think everything's great. The page turn is a little bit of an unfortunate chord right after you turn the page. It's a kind of a weird, wanky chord. But other than that, I'm really happy with that piece of sheet music. So we'll call that good. Blackbird is done. Eleanor Rigby is done. Let's go take a look at Here Comes the Sun. We'll look at the ukulele version first. And wonder when that happened. All right. one of the things I've discovered about ukuleles is that they are kind of malleable. Like you kind of end up beating them up over time, and so you don't want to fall in love with them too hard because they're going to get, if you play them, they get messed up. All right, now I've got a number of just sort of secretarial things to clean up on this piece, but overall it's fine. And so I will be posting a cleaned up version with a few, just honestly, they're totally secretarial changes. I'm not going to change any of the fingering on here except for the last chord, and so I'm going to be posting a newer cleaned up version of this. So next week will be the last week we play this, and just plan on it being basically the same piece of paper, but with a few doodly dads fixed. Now, remember, let's review very quickly. Go over to measure 19, because that's where you're going to die if you haven't had a chance to look at this. Measure 19, easy enough, right? 2, 0, 0. And then you got to get up to, grab your 2 10s and your 8, okay? Let me see if I can get that for you as clean as I can. 8 is here, these 2 10s like that. Okay, it's going to be really hard to get up there in time, so we're not going to go super fast here. 2 2 0 10 10 8, and then once you get to 10 10 8 10 10 8, okay, once you hit that 8, slide down to 5 5 3, then a little bar on 3. You're already, this side's already on 3, so just make a miniature bar on 3 and put your middle finger on the 4 of the 3rd string. Okay. Okay. Basically, that's the hard moment right there. You got to get those. You got to memorize those in advance. That's what you're after, right? Those shapes. The only other shape you need to know is at 26, and this shape comes up twice. You want to do a little bar on 1, middle finger on 2. Okay, and then the picking pattern is different there. 1 2 1 0 0 1 3 0 0. Okay, so just pay attention. This is a pretty straightforward song. Definitely a book 2 song, except for this one little section. And so warning you about it now. Those of you guys who were here last week, you're ready for it. And then remember, your repeats are a little bit wonky. When you get to 17, we go back to 1, and then we play all the way down to number 54, and then we're going to go back to 48. Okay, so on your paper, as I always tell people, that's the beauty of this. You grab your highlighter and you put a little highlight on your repeats so that your brain will let you see them more quickly, and it's always helpful, I think, to have a little bit of yellow highlighter there so your eyeball just tracks magically to those locations. You know you're going back. Where do I got to go back to? Oh, well, I got to go back to number 48, and there's a little yellow line. Boom, and you're right there on top of it. Okay, also remember at 55, we're going to slow way down for drama, okay, in service to the story. All right, I'm going to play the whole thing just as written. I'm going to try not to go very fast, because I know that middle part is there. And the other thing I wanted to mention, in that middle part, from 19 down through, what is it, about 39, really the whole second page, it's all built around eighth notes. So try to be steady. It looks like this, it looks kind of a mess with 2/4, 3/8, and 4 or 5/8, all these weird meters in there, but it's really just built off of eighth notes. So be counting those 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5, right? And that gets very complicated. Instead, just think of it as 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and you'll get it. You'll get it. Okay. From the top, not fast. Do I say that every single time? 1 2, ready, play. back to 1 and go. Go. Second ending. Get ready, here we go. It's so fun. Made a few unforgivable mistakes. Don't forgive me for them. But yeah, it's a fun song, right? And the arrangement, I'm probably playing in a little bit of what's in my head rather than what's on the paper a little bit. But not terrible, right? You got the basic idea. All right, now we go grab the baritone. For those of you guys who don't own baritones, you're playing chords on your ukulele. So it says D chord, and you look at this and you're like, that's not a D chord. What the heck's going on? This is your D chord, right? So you make your chord shapes. Don't pay any attention to the little chord grids, but you should know your D chord, G chord, A7, G, E7. I don't think, when you get to something you don't know, if it's E minor 7th down there at 15, you know your E minor, so just play that, and you don't have to worry about what the 7th is. When you see those chords, you see them all the time in music, and it's not because the musician thought, I'm going to put this really wonky chord in there with all this stuff after it. It's just they played some kind of cool sound, and then a guy in a bow tie went in later and figured out what he actually played. Okay, and so you don't need to worry about that as a chord accompaniment person. You play the main idea. All right, here we go. On baritone, ukuleles on chords, same exact thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. go. Whoops. Second ending. Here we go. Very nice. How about that? That's a pretty decent song. All right, so not hard to play, except when it's hard to play, and then it's really, really hard to play. Much easier, I think, I know, than Eleanor Rigby. And so Eleanor Rigby is only 2 chords. This one's got a mess of chords in it, and a lot easier to play. A lot of times you'll find that true. Just because it's got a lot of chords in it doesn't mean it's a complicated song. A lot of times those chords are helping you stick around in a certain position. All right, so I will clean up the secretarial type things on this, repost it. You'll have your final version next week. That's kind of the reason I'm doing this, is to clean up all of the sheet music from 2017, 18, 19, 20. It all needs to be updated to 2025 standards, and so we're going to be doing that as we go along. All right, let's take a look at All My Loving. Now, if you looked on there, you noticed that it said All My Loving Ensemble Ukulele and All My Loving Ensemble Baritone. That means we can play together. The ensemble baritone is just the melody line, and the ensemble ukulele is meant to be the regular ukulele one, but you can play it with the baritone at the same time together, okay, without just playing the chords type thing. However, there's also an All My Loving baritone, which is the same as the All My Loving ukulele. Okay, so make sure you know which one we're talking about. I'm going to talk entirely about the ukulele version first, and then I'll talk to there's a couple of minor differences between that and the baritone one. I don't think let me talk about the ukulele one, and then we'll talk about what the other things are. But let's talk about, as with all things, when you're working on a new piece, this is going to be an easy piece for you. This is all book one level plucking and stuff. So when you find a piece like this and you're like, oh gosh, this is pretty easy, I should be able to make this sound pretty nice. I think the downside of an easy song is that all of a sudden you are under a lot more pressure to get it right. Okay, and so let's just talk about a handful of things. Normally, I pulled out the song. I'm like, all right, haven't played this in a couple of years. What's going on with this? And I see that I have repeats. That's the first thing I notice, right? We're in 4/4, cool. D minor looks like, oh, maybe F. I'm not sure what key we're in. It ends in C. Starts on D minor, ends on C. So we're going to call it a C-ish type song that starts on the wrong chord, maybe. It's on a C blank. It's probably not an A minor. There's not very much A minor going on, so we're probably in the key of C, which means I'm going to be in my regular standard things. It's just kind of weird. It starts with D minor, but that's something that the more advanced music happens. You know, in the beginning music, I say starts with C, ends with C, whole lot of C's in the middle. You're probably in the key of C. As you get more and more advanced music, that gets a little tougher to figure out sometimes. The first thing I'm going to do is grab my highlighter. I'm going to mark my repeats. Until I get number 16, I got to go back to number 1, right? So to number 1. And then when I'm looking at page 2, I don't have to come back there. But I do notice that there's multiple sets of lyrics, and in that measure 26, I do have to go back, right? And so what does that mean? What that's going to mean is we're going to play 2 sets of lyrics, but we're playing them 3 times. And so the way to think about that is, if you're not sure, do the first line, do the second line, then pretty sure you're going to do the first line again, because that's usually where they put their good writing, right? Most songs, the best verse is the verse 1, and all the other verses they're just trying to fit the same new words into the same meter, and it's never quite as good. So how we're going to play this is first time through, down to 16, come back. Second time through, down to 14. Now you skip measures 15, and then we're going to play down to 26. That's going to send us all the way back to number 1 one more time. As you come down, you've already done your first repeat, so you're never going to play that again. So when you get to 14, jump over and play 17 and so on. So 17, it says second repeat. It really should say second and third repeat, and I think the baritone one does. The ukulele one doesn't. So you should put a little 3 up in there next to the 2. 2 and 3, we're going to play that section. But now remember, when you get to 25, you've already played that first repeat, so you're going to jump to 27. Okay? And so just be aware that those jumps are there so that you play the right. Well, so it goes right. Also, when you forget, when we're done with this broadcast, you go, I don't know what he's talking about. I do have the repeats listed up on. I've been trying to do that on all sheet music, is list the repeats up there. Not so much for you guys that have been around a while and know how to read repeats, but for newer players who are, pretty good players, are getting where they're doing stuff, but they haven't quite got the education behind them to get these repeats. Just sit down and read them. And I wish when I buy commercial music, which I hardly ever do anymore, but when I did have to from time to time, they don't do that. And so a lot of times you're trying to figure out where the coda goes and where the first repeat and the second repeat, and you waste all this time trying to figure out how the music works when you should be playing. And that happened at the university too. It was very normal for them to hand out music, and all of us be going like, where the heck do these repeats go? And there's so many typos in music that it's really easy to not trust it anymore, basically. All right, let's talk about how we would play this. This would be for ukulele and for baritone. You're going to start with 1 and a 0, right? Close your, and then you're getting ready to put a D minor on here, right? But you got a weird note in there that the Beatles do to us. That 1 is the wrong note. It's an E on the top of a D minor chord, so it sounds weird. And then you hit the 1 down. Okay, so your D minor is partial till you get there. That's going to happen in the Beatles a lot, where they wrong notes, resolve, and then look at. This is going to happen a lot in more than just Beatles music. In a lot of music, when you're playing D minor, very normal to have a G7 drop in right after that. And so don't get too wild here. You're holding your D minor, A minor if you're on baritone, and then you just drop this 2 fingers down. Okay, and yeah, you're making the G chord wrong, but it's fine, right? Now look at here. How many times have I told people not to play this G chord this way? This song, you end up upside down. It is what it is. Just let it be that way until you hit that 2, and then you fix it when you get to the 3. Okay, regular F chord, or for baritones is a C chord. Now, I've been trying to teach this a little bit more, and so I want to talk about it. You're holding your F chord, blum, blum, and you see a 3, your tendency is to grab your ring finger and go there. It's probably fine. But I want you also to start noticing your pinky will go there, okay? It won't matter so much until you get to the really complicated music, but more and more and more I'm putting my pinky on 3, especially on baritone and definitely on guitar, because it's just super, there's much more, it seems to me there's a much less chance of goofing things up with your pinky jumping in there and getting it done, hitting the right chord, hitting the right fret number 3, than when you're kind of stretching your ring finger out a little bit. Both are acceptable, but I want you to start thinking about, should I use my pinky in a situation like that? Measure 6, plain old regular D minor chord, or A minor if you're on baritone. Here again, measure 7. Remember when you first started ukulele and B flat was a problem? We just do that now, right? It's just a thing. Okay, so you put your regular B flat on, and as you get these 2 fingers on first, because you got a while before you got to hit the ones. Okay, and then switch right over to G7. And notice the singer, remember I'll always be true, splung do. Right, so the singer is singing, remember, let's see, where I start. Remember I'll always be true. Right, so you're changing chords, but the singer's still doing the same thing. If you're playing melody only, which a lot of you should still be practicing from time to time, making sure your melody is clean. If you play an orchestra, you don't have to worry about that. You'll get it cleaned up. But if you're a soloist, a lot of times we rush like a big old long note like that. If you're playing melody, okay, you got to hold that for 6 beats. Chances are you're going to come in early. So practice that. Anyway, that's what I was just trying to point out. Melody's doing one thing, the chords are dropping in a new chord underneath there, and it's very common to do that. Next is 1-0, and then we do kind of the same thing as the beginning. Now notice in 14, you're playing in G7, okay, and a D7 for baritone, and then you're lifting up this 1, okay. Again, here's the Beatles for you. An E note in a G7 chord is wrong, right? But it sounds cool. And then you'll hear it immediately resolves. Okay, so that's how you're going to play that first section. There shouldn't be anything in there that you haven't seen a lot of other times in other music that we've worked on together. So nothing super complicated there. Let's go on to page 2, second ending, and then now you get the all my loving, right? So it's a C chord or G chord on baritone. Nothing you haven't seen, all the way going back into book 1. That's straightforward, easy playing along there. When you have easy stuff, make sure that you're making it good, right? So you don't have to worry about getting these notes. You have to, do I want to thumb it? Or do I want to pluck it? Whoop. Obviously, I wasn't practicing plucking on this. So, but make sure whatever you do, you're committed to, and you're like, this is how this is supposed to sound. And when take advantage of those times when you have very easy chords. Okay, and then to wrap up, when we get to measure the second time we come around through here, we skip 25, 26, play 27, 28, and then remember, we want to slow down at the end. We're getting all of the show business plugged in there, and let's see how we do at 28. Now, here's the hardest thing in the entire song. 2 and 7. I'll talk about how to fix that if you don't like that. Okay, so I'm going to play it that slow, literally. Next 3 weeks from now, when we finish this up, I'll still be playing that, ending that slow. I will send to you. Bum 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 ba-da-dum bum bum bum. Right? Think about slowing that ending down a lot. Now, here's the problem. Everything in this is easy until that A minor chord at 30. Okay, and here's where we start talking about. I need an A minor. And the note I need is this E. Okay, now on tenor ukulele, it's probably doable for most of you. Those of you on concert ukuleles or soprano ukuleles, no problem, right? And I would probably rather than trying to get my ring finger to go down over that, I'm probably going to drag my pinky back. I'm probably going to use my middle finger to get the 3, and then the C chord. If that's not going to happen, if you're on baritone and 2 to 7, I can do it. It's a stretch. But if you don't have giant hands, it's probably not going to happen. So here's your choices. Okay, the easy choice is forget about the 2. Play 0, 0, 7. Forget, or better, maybe play skip both of the 2s, okay, and play the 7, 0, 0, 7, play the 5, play the 0, 0, 3, okay, just get rid of the 2, solves the problem. The other possibility is kind of hard. You know your D minor shape? A minor from baritone. If you run this up and put this on 7, it's the same chord. So then all of a sudden you've got this whole batch of crazy going on. Whoops. Okay, so that will totally work, is a bar on 7, D minor shape in front, A minor on baritone. Okay, but again, it's a lot of work. Like, all right, I'm going to do all this work to get that when I could just do 0, 0, 7. Okay. Both of them are acceptable. I had one student who was having a real struggle reaching this, and his decision was, hey, I'm going to do that shape up here. Okay, so you can kind of think that through about which makes the most sense for you. Try to get 2 to 7. If that doesn't work, just get rid of the 2 and play the zeros. And if you still really are, if you're really ambitious, put that D minor shape on a bar on 7, and I think you'll get it. I have been through all of the sheet music here, and again, I don't see a ton of updates that I'm going to be making. This was redone in 2022, so it's still pretty. Like the way I think these days is mostly already on here. Let's talk very briefly about the baritone ensemble piece. And it is just pure, straight up melody on here, so that while I'm playing next week on a ukulele, you can grab your baritone and you can play. You just play the melody, okay? The other thing that's on here is the chord, so close your eyes and I'll kiss you tomorrow, I'll miss you, right? And so, whoops, miss you. if you want to just do that as well. So really what you have for the ensemble is just a baritone lead sheet, the chords and the melody, and that's it, and you figure out the rest of it. It should be helpful if you have a baritone and you want to mess around with that. There you go. All right, so we have finished Blackbird and we have finished Eleanor Rigby. I will be posting some sheet music revisions to All My Loving and what was the other one? FedEx is here. Here Comes the Sun and All My Loving. Sorry, guys. When we moved in here, there was 2 separate alarm systems. And so we know who's coming and going. I'll post sheet music revisions for Here Comes the Sun and All My Loving, hopefully. I am running up to Denver this weekend to conduct the Denver Guitar Orchestra, and I would love to see some of you there. And I'm probably going to try to broadcast it too, so I'll at least record it if we can. And then next week, let me tell you what we're going to start the week after that. Let me pull up my list here. This isn't where I need to be. I go here, click members, membership. I'm so creative. And go here, and go here, and then slide down to the Beatles. And we're working on All My Loving. We're done with Blackbird. We're done with we're done with Eleanor Rigby. We're working on Here Comes the Sun. So after that, it's Hey Jude. Okay, I personally it's like nails on a chalkboard for me to that song. But lots of you who grew up in that era love that song. So we will knock it out. And so if you want to get a head start, you can start peeking at that one. It's got a lot of pretty cool chord alterations in there. I don't think overall you're going to struggle too much with playing it. There are a couple of chords up the neck, but not a million of them. And it's in the key of D, which we don't play enough in, so it's a good chance for us to work on some of those shapes. So that's what I know about ukulele wise tonight. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Hope those of you who have snow don't have too much of it, and those of you who have heat are not setting records. We're setting records down here apparently, and so that's not good. You guys have a wonderful week. I will see some of you in Denver on Saturday or Sunday, and then I will see the rest of you online. For Monday is harmonica, Tuesday is beginning ukulele, and Wednesday is advanced ukulele. I don't know if there's such a thing as advanced ukulele, but more advanced ukulele. Our members meeting is what I've been calling it. I like that. So have a wonderful evening. Go play some ukulele. Don't ever stop playing ukulele. It's the best instrument. And no matter what they say. All right. Have a great evening. Peace.